So I'll talk to you all later. Thanks for coming. Really keep your chin up. I don't think it's so painful. I think it's always been that way. You know, it's just we have the technology to actually, you know, I don't know, be witness to things all across the world. They're all nice. Keep your chin up. Fight the power. I love you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. What's happening? People call, say if it was no, can you? You still see the girl. I don't see the girl. Fire to be strong. Don't let me out. It's a be out. To be on your resurrection, like the bleeding on thought. Like a rolling sun. You don't know my school's right. It's nothing but you got me since you stay. Nobody ever touched you like that. The street now, you just gonna have to get used to it. You feel it all. You can do it, you feel like you said that. Till I can't find this fire. Say, do you want make a tea to be on? To be on your like the lead. You and never understood that it ain't no good. Get your kids real. Use the right horse. You take the map. You carry my shoulder. Hey, Southeast cat. It ain't hard. Just go. It wasn't where it's at. After he took from you, you could see just be on.
Oh, that's not it. That's not it. How does it feel? All right. Camera's working. Microphone's working. Brain is working. The comments are over here. Everything is slow. All right, I want to show something to you, but I unfortunately picked the wrong things, but we can do it later. Ham's playing some pickleball, but he's gonna come on. And I went through quickly all the charts of all the dogs we're in. And there's a guy named Soy Boy who attacks me on StockTwits. I'm going to put up his attacks to show you. But at the core of his message is that somehow I don't answer the tough questions. I think I have tried to answer every question to the point of exhaustion and also to the point of annoying a lot of you. I've answered questions from Clear Soy Boys, as he calls himself, and he says I melt down. I freely admit there's times I've cracked. I totally admit that. Just human, but I think I've answered questions, and I'll continue to do it. I did unblock Ocean Sailing and a couple of other people, but I found in that little nest of blocked people, it's like 250, 300 people. I didn't block anybody. I mean, I think I blocked 2 or 3 once I learned, maybe more like 6 once I learned how to do it. Maybe it's more like 10, but I blocked 250, 300 people. So maybe I should just go one by one and put them all back on and then reblock if they're a disaster. I didn't block so many people, and I don't mind legitimate entities who are human, who question me, have a different point of view. I don't mind that. I just mind FUD, I mind bullying, and I mind pointless negative questions. All right, so I'll try to find those. I thought I had them. I'll do it later. Second thing I want to say is I went through the charts on all these stocks. They get destroyed by Soy Boy and his friends, and they don't explain themselves. They don't answer questions like, how do you stock after stock after stock? How can you sell shares that don't exist? Oh, it's algorithmic trading. Well, maybe that's part of it, but they're not covering. And all the proof you need is from an attorney. Richard Hoffman understands, and I don't think he'd make it up, that in MMTLP, they've already found over 20 million shares in their reconciliation that they're trying to do that don't exist. FINRA came out and said it was 2.5 million shares short at the time of the halt in trading. Well, where did the extra 20 million come from? Algorithmic trading? Anyway, there was only one stock that seems to have any interest to me. The rest are all bad-looking charts. And this one is ZJYL. And you can draw support here 3 different ways. I think the best one's probably the highest one here, this one. But what's interesting, they all come to the same approximate area up here. Down here, they're all different. But up here, the support trend is basically the same. And I'm a fat finger chartist. And then you could draw 2 resistance lines, one from here on down, which certainly makes sense, and this one. And maybe you can do others. To me, this stock, they're trying to get it to break here. If it breaks here, it's going lower. And now, if it breaks here in volume and size, if it just slightly breaks, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going lower. But if it breaks here, which is what they want, it's going lower. On the other hand, I think this line, if it breaks out, or this line, if it breaks out, we're going a lot higher. And so that chart, ZJYL, is the only one that I find interesting right now. There's an interview out by Peter Boards on CAUD, and maybe we can play it after Ham comes on. And then what else did I want to talk to you about? Oh, there's only 200 people here. Maybe I'll mention it now and after Ham speaks, because after he talks, it's usually closer to 500 people. This is not a solicitation of orders or solicitation to buy or any of that, but I have a unique situation which transformed very quickly into a wealthy company / person buying out the whole project and developing it. It's a gold mining situation that hasn't been approved yet. It's in the process of being approved by probably by the largest shareholders. And what it would contemplate, this is in Nevada. It's nano gold, refractory gold, just like the Carlin trend, which Barrick and Newmont still produce out of. But it would be a high grade, and it would be, what they're projecting. They'll build the pilot plant this summer. They'll produce gold, and then they'll sell out to probably Barrick or Newmont or both. And then they estimate the annual production out of this mine will be 1 million ounces of gold a year. At those numbers, the revenues are tremendous. Now, I'm a shareholder. It disappoints me. What they've decided to do is just sell it now while the value is low. Sell it now to this other company. Let that company develop it, leaving my company, the one I'm saying might be available, with some sort of top line. I hope it's top line. Royalty, a royalty payment. And I bring it to your attention. The final deal is not formalized. And if there's 2 or 3 characteristics in it that I object to, I'm just going to say it's not worth taking the chance. But this is a project that's taken 17 years to come to this point. The CEO offered all of us as shareholders an opportunity to invest at 4 cents a share. And then almost immediately, less than 5 days later, trading days later, he sold it. He entered into an agreement. Well, he did. The company hasn't yet done it, but he entered into an agreement to basically go around all the shareholders. That's what's being voted on now. But let me cut to the chase. At 4 cents a share, a $25,000 investment at full production at $2,000 an ounce would generate somewhere between 200 and 225,000 a year in royalty income to that $25,000 investment. I know it sounds too good to be true, and I'm giving you the maximum at 2,000 a share, but that's what the numbers are. And they're selling stock so inexpensively now because of other investors being tired, because it's taken so long. There's this skepticism. I know the CEO. I believe the CEO, not the CEO. That's not it. It's not it. He's the metallurgist. He's the metallurgist. He's not the CEO. The company is very bare right now. It's publicly listed, but it doesn't trade. Anyway, what's going to happen, I think, is they're going to come back with the deal and with all the big wealthy investors. And the NewCo is going to buy the entire project out of this company, leaving this company with 10%, an eighth, something like that. Probably 10%. I hope it's an eighth override. And the company needs some money for the claims, for legal, but not very much, like $500,000. And I think these wealthy guys, once the deal is agreed, will put that money up. But because I've been working on this project for 2-3 weeks now, and the guy I'm working with has been also working on it, I have first claim on a reasonable chunk of that before they come in. So I throw that out there. I'm not ready to say I would just jump in right now. I want to see the final deal. I'm going to try to invest in it. This is not a solicitation. It's just, if you're interested, email me, and I'll have the company send material to you, and then we can talk about it, because I do not, I'm not, I can't give you financial advice, and I can't sell it here. But like I say, I've lost more than 25 grand or 50 grand trading this year, and taking the risk is, well, it doesn't scale up. The pilot plant doesn't work. I think the pilot plant's going to work. After that risk, it's that they don't have enough legal protections to allow the override to survive all contingencies. So that's why it's worth raising the money for a good lawyer, which they have. But like I say, I'm going to try to do it like 25 grand, 40 grand. It would be conceptually $250,000 a year in income, royalty income, at 1 million ounces of gold to produce. It'll take a year and a half to get there, probably, or more. And frankly, the risk is delays. Risk is, something's askew on the treadle. But I think they're there, and I think the fact that the big guy, the metallurgist, is doing an end run suddenly around investors indicates to me that he has a high degree of confidence, and his company that he's aligning with is in the resource space. And I haven't seen a third party proof of the results, but I believe it. And a small investment for an accredited investor, it might be worth the punt. I mean, anyway, I'll give you my email. And I have to go to FedEx. I have to go to FedEx to open this. I can't seem to do it on any of my equipment here. Maybe it's because the preset settings go just to my main email. So I'll go to FedEx and open it. But it's fair and balanced at Gmail, fair and balanced at Gmail. Like fair and balanced news, FARRAND, balanced at gmail.com. Anyway, that's not a trade. That's just a suggestion for an investment that I think could pay out. I mean, if they produce at 1 million ounces of gold a year, right now they have 6.6 million ounces proven, it only lasts for 6 years. But with the new process, they believe they're at 34 million ounces, so it could last for 30 years. And they have a north zone and a south zone. If they haven't drilled holes for 10 years. These were third-party assays back then. If they close between them and maybe go out a little bit and go down another, the measurement comes from 200 feet. The sands are over 400 feet deep. If they go deeper, it's possible they have 100 million ounces. Well, at 1 million ounces a year, that income's going to outlive you or me. It'll be pumping out for 100 years from now. Anyway, let's get off of that story. And then let me see if I can quickly find this. Come on, computer. Come on, computer. Okay, there we go. If I can find it, I want to talk about this, and then we'll try to get him on. It's so slow. My computer is so slow. But maybe I can jumpstart it by looking here. That's not it. So is it? No, that's not it. Make a deal. How does it feel? Oh, there it is. So it's 7977. 7977. Okay, let's go. 79. Okay. Open. Doesn't seem to be working. Yeah, it's giving me the Apple star of slow death. All right, 777. And God, come on, please just move. Okay, 7978. All right, one more. Of course, we got to wait for the Apple colorful wheel of take your time, take your time. All right, 79. 7977, 7978. That's weird. I guess this is it. All right, let's see if we can add one more just to make sure. I might not be getting them all, and I don't want to avoid any questions. I don't want to avoid any it's spinning. All right, let me see what this one is. Yeah, it could be this. All right, so we'll add this one first. All right, here is Soy Boy. He doesn't use his real name, and he's on StockTwits, a service I don't even look at. Somebody sent me these. So it says, beware of hams fraud. Beware of hams fraud. What about Soy Boy's fraud? Selling every single stock down, down, down. How does he sell stock? Let's see if he can answer that. How do you sell shares that don't exist? Then he says, Tommy Wang is dumping his 20 million new shares on us this morning. That's made up out of whole cloth. It's made up out of whole cloth. I know for a fact Tommy Wang isn't selling. Now he might sell. There's a rumor that there's a family office sniffing around to buy 25 million shares. Maybe something will happen there. But dumping the shares, that's an outright lie by Soy Boy. Where do you get your facts, Soy Boy? And then he says, GTII, finger, ZJYL, Ham lied, my portfolio died. No, Ham's not lying. Soy Boy's lying. Soy Boy and his friends are selling stocks. In the case of GTII, as Ham said, there's a rumor of a family office trying to buy 25 million shares, might be 20 million. Why would they be doing that? Because of the good fundamentals? No, because they shorted it. They sold stock that didn't exist. If they were able to cover, they'd be covering. If they were able to deliver, they'd be delivering. So Soy Boy is a liar. And then Finger, they just crushed that. And you know there's all the good stories there. And I think ZJYL has the best chance of having a counterattack to the upside. Beware of Ham's fraud, Soy Boy says. Bearish. One like, one share. Called out Ham the scams pumper group. Maybe he should look in the mirror about all he bagged in this play and all his others, Soy Boy says. Why doesn't Soy Boy have to answer for all the people he's bagged by selling counterfeit shares in stock after stock after stock after stock? All they have to do, they're only disciplined, they're all idiots. They couldn't drive a truck from New York to Chicago. They probably couldn't paint a house. They couldn't remember 8 orders on the 2 tops and 4 tops and the one 6 top in the middle. They couldn't remember those as a waiter. They can't work at Walmart. They have no people skills. So they do this shit. And then Soy Boy says, fingers up 14% today. Still down 80%. F you, Ham and William. This guy seems to be a very active trader, very actively interested. He had a chance to sell Finger at a profit. He had a chance to take enough stock off the market that he had his original money out of it, if he even owns Finger. He doesn't own Finger. He's making this up. And then he says, I love when William melts down on his lives anytime he is given a legit Kirsten. I can't speak for Daniel Borders. I'm not going to defend Daniel Borders. I love when William melts down on his lives anytime he is given a legit Kirsten. Well, let me just say to Soy Boy, I've tried to answer every single question. I've even answered questions that seem pedantic, simply to show that I am willing to answer questions. And yes, it gets draining after hours in the same questions. And then it hurts to see people losing money. And then to get personally attacked, all of that. And sometimes I crack. That happens, Soy Boy. But let me ask you, Soy Boy, come on. I invite you on. We'll give you a link. We can ask questions. We can see your magnificent face and we can hear your voice. And you can tell us what ideas you have. You can answer our questions. And you can answer who pays you to just print that crap that's in every basher's handbook. All right. I think I went through my agenda this morning. Let me well, Ham needs another little while. So let me go to the bottom. and see what the most recent comments are and questions. It's possible, Lucid Heart, that people start freaking out the most right before things happen. Yeah, I think that's a good point, Lucid. I certainly think in the case of GTII, the stock gives you maximum psychological pain, and now it's up. I don't quite trust this rally up yet, but somebody's covering. Somebody's covering. Hey, Jewelry Affairs. Yeah, Peter, I will. I'm trying to just address it at the beginning because the attack basically is I'm gutless and I won't confront tough questions. I didn't see any tough questions in there. I just saw, if you had the Basher's Handbook, you could make some kitchen magnets to put on refrigerators and pick one question a day, and that's what I saw there. Nvidia, the tattooed lady. Nvidia. The markets are rotating out, in my judgment, are rotating out of the splendid seven. And it doesn't mean they won't have another rally upward. But I think money's going into the major oil and gas companies and dividend producing companies and others. While the market rallied, it was 7 stocks. So there's plenty of room to rotate out of those stocks into the others, driving the market higher. And I think they're trying to find new leadership. Doesn't mean the technology stocks are anywhere over with in this near term. I still am convinced, because of the election, because of the liquidity, the Fed and the Treasury, through all sorts of mechanisms, are going to try to get into the markets and banks, because the banks are in trouble. Many banks are in trouble. That extra liquidity is going to go to the markets. And I also think all the red socked boys with white shoes and pinky fingers, they just follow each other. And as these start to turn, they're going to become bullish, right, one right after the other. So I think the S&P could go to David Hunter's number of 7,000 in some short-term time frame. It may not happen. I mean, obviously anything can happen, but I think that's what would surprise the most people, is if the market rallies. I would use that time to get out of the technologies. I know they're going to have great stories. They're going to be amazing stories. And we can't live without those little chips. On the other hand, the PE ratios are going to be stratospheric. And I do think these genius portfolio managers will come out of those. Hey, Jeff. Nvidia, the tattooed lady. I don't think that's how it goes. It goes. See how it goes. Whoa. That was loud. Nvidia.
1940.
Nvidia.
She was the most glorious creature under the sun.
Nvidia.
Nice. Bravo. Rolled into one.
Lydia, oh Lydia, say, have you met Lydia? Lydia, the tattooed lady. She has eyes that folks adore so, and a torso even more so. Lydia, oh Lydia, that encyclopedia. Oh Lydia, the queen of tattoos. And her back is the Battle of Waterloo. Beside it, the wreck of the Hesperus too. And proudly above waves the red, white, and blue. You can learn a lot from Lydia.
From Nvidia. Anyway, Nvidia, the tattooed lady. So, Mark, Houston Wade will have Rosa on that. I don't know what time, but it's tonight. So I don't know Houston Wade by his, his call letters, his handle. But that would be great for everyone to watch. Media junkie, thank you. I sometimes feel inadequate and worn out and insecure. I need my mommy. Yes, it was Groucho singing, oh, Lydia, the tattooed lady. This is how great minds work. They go from serious issues, connecting it to a drivel song from 90 years ago that no one's ever heard of. Nvidia. I know that's the hardest thing, media junkie. When I had, book of accounts, I had quite a few elderly clients. Of course, now they would seem normal age, but to me, they seemed elderly. And I just would only do things on the margin. Like if a bond matured, I'd find another bond. Or if there was a corporate action, I'd call and say, you need to decide on this. But I pretty much left their stock positions alone because, I mean, what do they need to change it all around for? And I'll swear, after looking at those accounts 4 or 5 years later, lots of times they did better than ones I never touched. I don't know the answer. GTII is acting like somebody's buying stock in. I think both are under pressure from sellers. I just don't know the answer. I think the answer is ZJYL is going to go first. I think GTII is a long way from a squeeze. But that doesn't mean, I'm not telling you, I don't know how to play it, but if it pulls back a little bit, it might be worth buying for a trade. I'm a little nervous about where it is. On the other hand, I could be totally wrong. And this is going to 80 cents or $1.25. I don't think it's going to go out of control yet. But at $1.25 or at $2 or at $2.50, it might go out of control. So is it better to wait until it gets up there to buy or buy now? It's probably better, if you believe there's some potential in it, to buy now. Why? Because you can own more shares. At Faro, nothing's changed with Finger. They have several news announcements coming. I think they're going to go profitable this year. I would imagine if you want to be conservative, that it'll go profitable later in the summer, might be sooner. As soon as Finger's profitable, the shorts are going to get less and less interested. I don't think either one of them is going to squeeze now. And I don't think either one of them is going to squeeze before ZJYL might squeeze. 5 p.m. Houston, we have a problem. That's a good name. I don't know this guy, but I do recommend tuning in to hear him and to hear Rosa on MMTLP and her cases. She was, I never met her, never spoke with her actually, but she was on many space calls and then filed. You know, she was like the East Coast Richard Hoffman. And I think there's another guy, Robert. Anyway, she's one of the attorneys that went ahead and filed objections. Yes, Ham's coming on today, Pharaoh. Hello, hello. Hello. Evening, Squire. Evening, Squire. Would you like to come? All right.
Oh, girl.
All right, I have to put this Relax, everyone. Relax, everyone. DBMM is up 300%. I didn't know that. That's pretty good. I'll look at that. Thoughts on AST being bought by Equinity, which is owned, I can't pronounce that. It's owned by a large fund in the UK. Fraud. They'll be able to continue the fraud. They'll be able to continue the fraud. So if I were Greg McCabe, I just moved my transfer agent to Empire transfer agent out of Arizona, I think it is. I would just switch transfer agents, and that's easily enough done. All right. I'm going to see Ham called, and I need to see if he's free to speak. Hey, do you want me to put you live? All right, hang on. All right, that's the voice, and that's the audience.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Again, it's not legal advice, blah, 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 investment advice, whatever it is. Anyway, listen, everybody, we're all down and out. You know, we get a half hour up, and every day is just the same cha-cha, the market down 2 cents, 5 cents. It's the same thing. Stocks do not act this way. It's manipulation. I don't know how the government hasn't stopped it yet. It looks like they're slowing it down, but it still exists. So again, I got it. You know, I hear people moaning, and you know what? I got it. You know, I'm not too thrilled about it either, but I can't do anything about it. And it leads me to a story which I spoke about. Symbol RUM. The CEO called me up. He was under attack. The shorts reported him to the SEC for some violation that he was reporting numbers that weren't truthful about how many people are on his site. He told me he got the numbers from Google, and that's what they based it on. Everybody knew about it in his company, the board, and his lawyers. The SEC announced an investigation. The stock gets destroyed. I forgot how high it was. At the year high, I think it was 11. It went straight down to $3.50. The stock has been getting traction again, going back up, and signed the deal. It was a big squeeze one day. What I'm trying to say is the SEC today came out and they dropped the investigation. They couldn't find any wrongdoing. So think about the poor people that were caught up in that fake report by the shorts that got the SEC to investigate. The SEC comes back and says they found nothing wrong. Imagine you owned it at 7 and sold it at 4 because of that report. And now it's all okay, nothing happened. That's what the shorts do. And the SEC, the politicians, the press that doesn't see the damage it does to the public company and to the investors. And that shows you how it works. And they did it to Pat Byrne back in the day, many other companies. They did it to Elon Musk. Everybody's on investigation. The shorts have a direct pipeline into the SEC. We have reported to the SEC $27 trillion in crimes. They've never even addressed it. We reported on MMTLP. We reported on GTII, Big Emotion, many others. 0. For 5 years reporting the crimes on drugs, letters, emails, phones, you name it. Nothing. The short sellers, not only get a story on, they get the SEC to investigate, they pay them. As a whistleblower, we've gotten not one penny from the SEC. So I'm just trying to show you how slanted the rules are. It's almost impossible to survive these attacks and what they do. But we will, because we know what we're doing, and most companies do not. And the 4 companies that do not know how to fight back or address it in real time just get wiped out, want to get reversed, you name it, and get destroyed. So again, it's I never said it was easy, but it sure is criminal. I can tell you that. Anyway, buddy, you have anything to say?
Well, there's an interesting question, and I got to look up the name of it. Here it is. Apparently AST, this relates to MMTLP, is being bought by Equinity, which is owned by an international fund out of the United Kingdom. What does that mean? Is our stock transfer agent owned by an overseas UK fund now? My guess is they'll just switch transfer agents, but is it something to worry about or not? Or maybe you don't know.
I don't know, and I wouldn't worry about
Okay.
it. Your beef is with the SEC and FINRA. Don't worry about your transfer agent.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I mean, you're going down. Listen, everyone keeps going down these rabbit holes and posting more detailed information about how crooked it is behind the scenes. If you want to be an expert on that, good luck. I do not want to be. All I know is that when you stop trading, you need to have a certain amount of longs and a certain amount of shareholders. That's it. I mean, stock dimension shareholders. Everybody's getting so crazy, going all. Everyone's just getting more confused. I never went down those rabbit holes. I don't know why anybody would want to, but you continue to do it. And it just comes down to basic. We bought a stock. No one's delivering it. Companies have stopped trading to get the actual share count. And if you do that, it turns into a shit show. GTII still can't get their dividends. MMTLP is a dividend, and you can't get it. That's because you expose the system. Once you know that you can demand an actual count, they're all exposed.
Another minute.
And that's the game. So there you go. Where I live, I really don't care about all this other stuff. I don't get me wrong. All these people that are posting all this information about the DTC and the FINRA and all. Listen, FINRA just needs that you caught them. What else do you want to say to them? I mean, there's not much more to say. They're criminals. How are they not protecting you? It's just remarkable.
It's mind-numbing and it's depressing, but
that's what people don't understand. It's mind-numbing. It's remarkable that we have to sit here and watch it every day. You can't get an answer for a year and a half. That tells you, yesterday we heard there was 20, 30 million shares. They found more. If it was just 20 or 30 million shares, they would have settled it and this would have gone away already. This is much bigger than you think. And that's why it's taken a year and a half. The day they come out and tell you that there's 600 million shares and there's only 165 real shares, that's when the world gets upside down. And that'll be the cover of the Wall Street Journal, every newspaper worldwide.
I agree. When the final share available of Nextbridge is issued, it's going to explode on them. They can't hide it. Not with.
The shareholders need to get to Nextbridge, give out those shares, and that's what they have to do. You have to do that. Those people stop looking at your brokerage firm, get the goddamn thing out, send it to the transfer rate, and get your shares. You got to keep twisting the fight. They're not going to help you. You got to do it yourself.
Yeah. Let me see. I don't agree. X1 is saying that CRTD is getting interesting. I don't know. It's up, but I
I
don't
would
trust
stay away
it. It's
from
a
it. I
penny.
would stay away. I know the people buying it. Stay away from it.
It's a penny. Yeah, stay away.
Oh,
I
that's
would take
vocal. Is that
advantage of
vocal?
this
Vocal.
to
You're talking about vocal, right?
vocal.
That's
Yeah,
the-
yeah, yeah.
To stay away from it.
And maybe lighten up if you still own it. Just
Listen, my friends get even at 15.
yeah.
I'm sure they have some people buying it to prop it up. You get it yet? Anyone? What I just said?
Say that again. Someone's buying it to
They're
prop it up
propping it up
because they're going to do a deal and then drive it down. Right?
No, I think they're going to do. I think he retired his debt.
Yeah.
He converted the debt holders into equity holders.
Yeah.
And the only people that can get out are the debt holders, right?
Yeah.
So
why are
there you
they
go.
propping it up then? Just to make it
Because
look.
they want to make it look better, and then eventually he's going to come out and he's going to come out and say he's selling a division or whatever the hell he has, and make it. He's going to be. He's going to say his cash flow. He has no more burn rate. No, he has no more debt. Right? We know that already. And then he's going to say that he's cash flow positive and he's spinning this off and doing that, trying to entice people to get into his stock. He's already murdered everybody. If you want to go there, good luck.
Yeah, I agree with your analysis. And he
just take, if you know,
maybe it's propped up so they don't have to convert so many shares for the debt too. You know?
No, they did it all at the bottom.
Oh, they did it at the bottom. All right.
It's a total it's a shit show again already. That's all you have to know.
Here's the best question. Why are you so old looking and creepy sounding? I don't know. I was born that way.
I am. I'm sorry about that. I'm just smoking cigarettes and drinking. That's what I was doing. Hey, listen, people, if you don't like what you hear, hang up. This is a conversation between two people. William wants you to hear what he has to say. You don't like it, hang the fuck up. That's it. Go someplace else. You know, we're giving you our time. If you don't want to hear it, hang up. That's it.
And it might be worth what we're getting paid for it too.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate. But we're having a blast. And listen, we hate it as much as you do. I hate what's going on here. I have the ticket to wipe everybody out. And I just got to get a license from overseas.
I know.
William happens to have
working on that.
William has the key to the kingdom, and he's been sleeping, not paying attention to it, that he has it. He has someone that knows the royal family or the sheikhs,
Sheikh and bake.
and Abu Dhabi. My business plan was built for Abu Dhabi, and we were close. But now I think we're really close, and William's going to get us that meeting, and we're going to go see if we can close it out. And I spoke to a gentleman who works for Oracle, and he wants to introduce me to Oracle because they build out the platforms. They actually build out the cloud for the DTC, the NASDAQ. I don't know if he said the New York, but they would be willing to work with us on a blockchain exchange. They could build out all the technology for piece of the action. So we just have to get that license, and then we will destroy the US.
All we need to do is make it work on one, and we'd have more business than and all of you, at least the names I recognize, will just go from company to company to company.
And you know, Webull said that you can trade stocks in South Korea, which I think is a great thing, but you have to trade South Korea stocks. My idea is to list US public companies there. Webull will let you trade US stocks listed in South Korea. That's my plan. So Webull's ahead of us, but they're making you trade South Korean stocks, which I think if you learned about it, they got some pretty powerful ones. And you know it's not being shorted, you're being protected. So why would you even bother here?
Listen to this guy. He bought 1,400 shares of Vocal, and it's now 3. I don't mean to laugh at you losing money, but I've gone through that myself, and it's It's just incredible. This happened with me with a company that I raised, a biotech company I raised money for, and I had my big payday in shares, and something like 400,000 shares is now 8. So they kill everybody.
I told you about my friend. My friend bought 200,000 ROOT. I think the IPO was $25, $5 million he put up. And the stock went from $30 to $1. They reversed it back up to $25 and it's $8. I think his whole position's maybe worth 50,000 from 5 million.
Unbelievable. And no one cares.
The company had a $10 billion market cap, and now the market cap's 130 million on the whole company.
It's an interesting point, T. Alex. One thing I've noticed, they can print as many shares as the government prints money. That's an interesting point.
Again, I don't want to stray to all the other different crimes out here. We can go crime after crime after crime. Let's settle the trades. Let's make the equity markets what it's supposed to be. You buy, you sell, whatever you buy, you pay for it. Someone delivers something for you. Public companies have no idea how many shares they have. But if the company issued one share, unregistered security, they go to jail. The short sellers are flooding the market with unregistered securities, counterfeits, all day long. The company doesn't get any money. The company has no idea who the shareholders, where they're coming from. And the weight of these shareholders crushes the stock. Management gets looked at as though they're criminals because the bashes come out and post that the company sucks with all these shares, blah, 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 all the nonsense. And I'm going to give you an example from a long time ago. A woman who was the CEO of a company, I think it was San Francisco. She developed drones that she used to go in the harbors to protect the military ships, the Navy, underwater submarines that could be, like, I guess, would protect and see what's going on under the water, right? Her stock was $1. The shorts put out a story that they just got a $1 billion contract from the government. The stock went to $6 or $7. The shorts shorted the shit out of it. The company had to come out and said they had no such contract. The stock got destroyed. The shorts get away because they said, we knew this, they couldn't get a contract like that. Meanwhile, they put out the story by somebody. This poor
and then
woman,
the government doesn't want to do business with a company that looks like it's going to go out of business.
Well, first of all, it was a fraudulent story. People came in and bought it. They come out and say that they never had, the company had to come out and knock down that press release saying, hey, we had nothing to do with this. It was a complete fraud. The shorts shorted the stock. They didn't buy the stock. They shorted it on the run up because they knew the company would have to take down that press release, right?
Right.
So they shorted, and they're out there yelling that this company's a fraud, blah, 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 because they know they did it. This woman was in tears to me. She had all these new shareholders, lost all kinds of money, and the SEC was investigating her for fraud, and she had nothing to do with it. I couldn't believe it. That was another angle on how they do it. So think about that. These guys put out a fake report. The stock went up. Instead of buying it and going for the run up, right, which most people would do, right? They did the opposite. They shorted it because they knew the story was false, and eventually it would go back to earth, right? And they would never be looked upon as profiting from it because they shorted it after the news came out. They said that this is a joke, but they knew because they did it.
Kit is pointing out that Nextbridge will now be able to track electronic and physical certificates, which is great. It just reminds me of something back when I, was a big swinging guy. If I did syndicate or if I did a secondary, my manager would come to me and say, now, if I give this to you, you've got to hold it for 30 days or you're going to lose your commission. and I would give it to some of my DVP accounts or keep it on my book. But they could track, and I don't know if you knew that. Back then they could track every certificate, and they knew if I sold my shares, and they'd take the commission away from me.
That's pretty good, because if a guy has a DVP account, it's the delivery versus payment people. They can buy the stock at Merrill Lynch with William and sell it to Smith Barney.
Same time.
That's at 1 second. So if they're tracking it, you know, it's pretty interesting that
They told me they could track it. I don't know if it was true, but I was always afraid of losing my commission. And you know, it's interesting. They can do all that. They can leverage up with just a small amount of money. They can leverage up all of the, by doing that at different firms, buying and selling instantaneously. Because with me, they would send the money late, and it was accepted. Anyway.
Listen, Wall Street doesn't want to spend any money that can help expose them. Everything else they spend money on. Technology to do settlement, they can't figure that out. Blockchain, they can't figure it out. They have the CAT system, which is tracing which is basically an automated an audit trail that shows criminal activity. The brokerage firms, they can't figure that out. They've been delaying it for years, William.
Yeah. Just looking for questions.
I mean, so Wall Street, all their money, Goldman Sachs, just look into active brokers. It's trading at the high. I just put up the other day, FINRA caught them again for 20 more violations. All they do is violations, and their stock goes up. FINRA Motion is actually doing business legitimately, and their stock goes down. Why bother? Right?
Why bother? I'm looking for questions. Your pilot friend is here, always a loyal supporter. I don't see any questions. Let me go to the bottom.
I had a question for our pilot friend.
If the team, everybody should listen. You know, I spoke with him the other day. There were some flights going to the UK and to the Middle East, and the jet stream had winds of over 200 miles an hour. It was on Twitter, and the people were on the plane.
So you would fly over there in 4 hours instead of 6?
They got in an hour early, but the plane was so bumpy and was going so fast. My question was, what is the strain on a plane going past the speed of sound? You know, they don't normally travel. They think they travel 550 with their engines, but with the wind, it was taking them up to 800 miles an hour with the tailwinds. And the plane was very bumpy the whole way.
I wonder why they wouldn't just turn back their engines. I guess because it would go down. You have to keep your engines.
Well, I guess you just maintain it. But, you know, the ground speed, he was explaining it to me yesterday. And my second question was, what happens if you have to go against that wind? How is that flight? You know, the pressure's got to be on the engines pushing the opposite way because you're going into the jet stream. So it was interesting. I think that's why everyone has a good story. You got to ask questions.
A lot of questions on ZJYL, which is 807 right now. Let me see the bid and ask.
All right, my friend who owns 25,000 shares turned into 500,000 shares, has not sold a share. As a matter of fact, he went skiing. So that shows you his concern about GDC and and ZJYL. No concern. He could have sold it at 300. He could have sold it at 200. He's never sold a share.
Kitties Never Die, who's a man, not a woman, says what happens is they don't fly at the speed of sound relative to the cocoon of air they're in, just with respect to the ground. So that's interesting. So inside of the jet stream, they're just flying with the rest of the air. They're not. Yeah, but that doesn't answer the question about vibrations and all that.
Oh, the bumpy. If you can look on Twitter, I wouldn't want to be on that plane for an hour going through that bumpy ride.
Not legal advice once took a flight. Oh, there's more? From LAX to JFK in 4 hours. And the way back is 6 hours. Yeah, it's always
I did that on San Francisco. I did San Francisco to New York one time, and like it was overnight, but it was a rocket, and the plane was just ripping along, 650, something like that. Now I flew on the Concorde, and I flew at 1,100 miles an hour, but we were flying, up higher against the air. It's real light up there. I
had a girlfriend. Really, I did. She flew the Concorde, the flight before I can't remember if it was the direct flight before or the day before that crash.
I was on that one. I was on the Air France one, but maybe a couple of months earlier than that.
Yeah, God. I never got to fly it. I was jealous of her because
they won't let you on it. They don't let you type on those planes.
They don't. I heard it was very small and cramped, but it must have been
That's
something.
Not true. It was very nice.
The takeoff must have been something.
It just went. It was very nice. I couldn't. It was like dining in a French restaurant. It was beautiful. You drink all the champagne you want. I watched people bring their dogs, pay $10,000 for a seat for their dogs.
Yeah, I have a friend that would fly it, and I just spend the money. I couldn't understand. Get there a little bit later, save 10 grand.
Oh, stop being a cheap bastard now. Can't take it with you, William.
This guy.
Who tried to take it with them? The Egyptians, the Romans? Who tried to take it with them?
Ozymandias. Look ye on my works and despair.
The Kramers want to take it with them. Lynn Partners, Savvy Management. Those are the guys that want to take the money with them. They want to keep stealing because they think they get to take it with them when they're dead. But that doesn't work.
This guy Lee worked at Heathrow Terminal 5, and the whole job. I guess he was building there. I don't know. I can't understand. It says Terminal 5 build. But anyway, the whole job used to stop for the Concorde when it came in.
Yeah, it was British Air. I think it was Terminal 5. I think that was Terminal 5. I can't remember.
Kiddies never die as a pilot. Tailwinds are, here's your pilot friend. Tailwinds are the best. Saves on fuel big time. Headwind is the opposite.
Right. That's gotta kill the fuel. Anyway, ZJYL, $8 times 20, still 160 something, right?
It's 813 by 820.
Yeah, but it's saying that it's if you do $8 times 20 is 160. Right?
Oh.
So here's a company that did a forward split, and it's still $160. It's not 300 like we all want to see. It went to 12 the other day. You get your spikes back up and down, but a forward split, you're still in business. A reverse split, you destroyed everyone. And the guy from guy just said he had 1,700 shares of Vocal and has now 3 or something like that. But I forgot his number. That's the difference between the two.
This guy's question is contradictory on its face. What would cause the shorts in ZJYL to cover? Could they just walk away from the trade? If they walk away from the trade, they'll be bought in. So they're stuck selling more shares.
They're stuck anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, just look at it this way. We said that there was, what was it, 10 million shares reported short, and that makes it 200
And
million.
I think it was at $25 or $20.
So forget all those numbers. Let's make believe it was 1 share, 1 million shares.
Okay.
Now it's 20 million.
Okay.
The stock hasn't traded 20 million shares since the reverse.
Right.
At all. So they haven't covered. That's all you need to know. And for those who think that they don't cover, just look at HOLO. They got destroyed in this stock. Destroyed. So again, this is the game. They stay. If you're playing against the big a load of crooks that is just remarkable. Everyone's waiting for Nvidia's earnings out today, and there's all kinds of story about Goldman from that accounting woman. I forgot her name. She's a famous CPA, I think she is. She's on Twitter. Goldman Sachs is telling everyone to buy the stock. It's going high. I mean, just who knows what's going on. I've always believed that the first move that the shorts make is try to drive it down to get people to be nervous for the earnings. Now, it's a crapshoot either way. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be exciting to see what happens.
For Nvidia?
Yeah, I'm just saying that Nvidia is supposed to come out with their earnings today. CNBC has a countdown clock. That's how big it is. Of course, that's the only stock that trades, and as far as CNBC is Nvidia. And they think everybody owns Nvidia, but basically it's just hedge funds trading back and forth. But as a trader, when I see the earnings are coming out in a big name like this, and the first thing they do is attack it straight down, to me, my gut would be I'm a buyer on this crazy dip that you're seeing. I may turn around and sell it into the close. It may jump up 20 points into the close, because if you're short, you're nervous that things are going to open up $200 or $300 higher. So it's always interesting to see. But again, it's a very dangerous stock to play, and it's something you should learn and watch and see how it trades. That's what you should be doing. I just described that I always see them go down first. If it does spike up, I'd be a tendency to say, hey, you know what? Everyone thinks it's good. You know what? Let me lighten up into that. What the shorts are trying to do is trying to shake out people that are long and trying to drive it down. But we'll see what happens if you're short the stock, trying to make a quick $5, $10, you're going to cover before the close. You're not staying for the news. So, should be interesting to see in the next 10 minutes what the stock does.
Everybody wants to make a quick buck. I think.
I gave you the story on rum. I would love to find out the day. If anyone has the day that the shorts, that the company spoke about when they got the lawyer, when the company was notified about the SEC investigation. I'm curious about where the price was before that, because the shorts already reported it to the SEC. So we'll see what the hell happened there. I'm going to figure that out for you guys.
Swell.
That no token to get you on the subway, William.
Wow.
No other questions? We learned how to fly a plane.
I mean, it's always the same
plane. We learned how to fly a plane. We did everything.
I don't see any questions, so I guess everyone here knows what's going on. And what is going on with ZJYL? What do you think, Cam? Well, I think he just answered it.
I think my friends still own it, and they own 500,000 shares and they haven't sold a share. And he's skiing. Oh, he just fell down. Okay, we got up to date. He just took a tumble. I'm actually trying to look for I'm looking for the rumble, the attack. I see the drop, but I'm not sure when the attack happened.
All right, so I don't see. Are they still trapped in TELO?
It's funny you said that. I bought stock. My daughter bought stock. I had to buy stock today at 860 and 822. Yes.
TELO hits a new high. TELO hits a new low.
You got to buy the dips and you sell the rips. Do I know when it's going to go? No. But I still believe that the company TELO is going to make a statement And I think that once the company starts making statements, the stock is going to explode. It did. Someone told me SEED, who I spoke to many times before, that's up $1.30. He's got a huge short in it. SEED. Maybe it's got something to do with the seeds. They have some sort of seeds that help grow food. They shorted that stock. They killed that stock. I spoke with those people.
Why should we care about food and seeds?
Remarkable
much
stuff.
more important that Seth Kramer can buy an Italian
So what
suit
happens
and
is they
smoke
knock the
a
stocks
Cuban
down. They
cigar.
knock the stocks down from 10, right? And seeds up today $1.35 right now on 16 million shares, right? Everyone's sitting this. Oh my God, it's such a big mover. It's still down $7. It's still down 7.
Yeah.
That's how they get you. That's what they make you think about. It's remarkable. And for those that talk about TELO, I reported it out below 7. It dropped down to 6. They attacked it. One guy bought the whole float and the whole thing, and the stock turned, caught the shorts, and traded up to 20. People I know all sold into it, and when it dipped at below 9, they started buying it back. That's it, because they know that they know these guys now have a bigger short position now. GDC is doing nothing. ZJYL, GDC is trading 65,000 shares. It traded the other day 700,000 shares. I think it was going up, and they knock it back down. Every stock, as Richard, not legal advice, would say, has the same pattern. It's just relentless. It's every stock. It's not just I look at many stocks and they just do the same thing. They all do the same thing. All right, William, get a guess. What's the closing price on Nvidia? It's $675 right now. It's down $19 at $675. I think it closes at maybe, with 5 minutes to go, maybe $685, I think. Because remember, if you're short, you got to go into this earning call worrying about you're going to get like a Facebook of $75, something like that. Think about that. You don't want to be caught with that. So you move to the sideline. That's what smart people do. But there's so many crazy people playing here with options. It's it's hard to tell what the hell's going to do. Nothing, William. That's
No,
it.
there's nothing. And I'm guys, mostly I'm sick of this. I'm sick of most of these jerky questions, and I'm sick of answering the same thing. And you blame him, you blame me. It's not Ham's fault. It's not my fault. If you don't want to be in the game, just go buy Nvidia. Go buy Exxon.
That's it. William, stop talking to them. That's it. They can blame us all they want. Tell them to give me give me the codes to their machine and tell me if I did it. If I did that, then it's my problem. But I never touched your phone. So if you have a gripe, I told them to call the SEC, register any complaint, give them the symbol, say whatever you like. Go complain. Don't complain to us. We can't do it. You don't think we want it to work? Listen, William, it's the shorts. They're just breaking your balls. That's it. You keep listening to them. I tell you to keep inviting them to the SEC. None of them show up. They all just they sit here and go on your call, and that's why I keep trying to tell you.
Crossbones.
Stop. I don't want to hear it.
Crossbones, you can come on after Ham's gone. Contact Busy Brands. You can come on and you can be on with me and ask all the questions you want. But people ask you questions too.
Stop. Don't give them any. Tell them to go get their own channel. Get out of here. Get lost, William. Stop. Stop talking to people like that. We're here to show you the crime. You don't believe there's a crime? Call the cops. Do whoever you like. We call the cops in case you don't remember. All right. If you like, if the gentleman that's breaking your hump wants me to, William, get his name and I'll give it to the FBI and they'll contact him. Just give me his name and I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
That's all you have to say. You want to register a complaint, we'll get you to law enforcement. I have their cell phone number. I'll be glad to give it to them anytime. I'll give them their name and I'll give them their number, your name and number. You deal with them. Good luck. But they don't want to do that. They all keep saying that, but they don't say anything. That just tells you that they're just blowing smoke up your ass. So stop talking.
Busy
They want
Brands
you to
is
get
here.
aggravated. Oh, forget that guy.
BB.
He's a good guy.
BB.
He knows how to handle these guys. He's the type of guy, he was a Marine, I believe, a Marine.
He's a Marine.
You know, besides running from the front line, when he went to the back line, he always protected you. Don't worry about that guy. He was always first in line at the mess hall. Good. He's a good man. Listen.
He
Those
is a
are the
good
people
man.
you
He
want.
is a good man.
Those are the people you want to deal with. These other thugs get lost. They're here trying to steal your money, and they're trying to upset you. They don't upset me. I could care less.
I pity the
surprised
fools.
Nvidia. I'm surprised Nvidia hasn't really started jumping. Interesting.
All right, so Kit Kitteridge guesses Nvidia is going to 600. Where is it now? Let me see.
Oh, 674. I have no idea what it's going.
I'm
up and
going to
down.
say it goes
It's
to.
it's the wheel of fortune here. That goes
go
at 675.
It'll go. I don't know. It's just a guess. I'd say 650.
Well, whatever's going to come out, it's going to happen quick. It's going to either be a bloodbath or it explodes.
Let's look at it.
That's the earnings game.
Let's look at the stock chart. It should happen right now, right?
The earnings should be coming out any moment, and you guys can learn and see what happens. We have no idea.
I'd say,
everyone knows.
oh my gosh, that could go down to 678. No, sorry, 570, 578.
Well, it started
They're not
to
going to
move
let it
before-
do that, are they? They're going to have to rally it back to
I have
760.
no idea. You know, it's just remarkable, but that's what
It's
and
just
that's why the
gambling.
company- that it's just gambling. No one has any idea. No one knows what's going on. And hedge funds are playing these names like they are in Tesla. They're doing it to create volatility. Remember that word, volatility. That's how they make money. Hedge funds make money on volatility. And if they're making money with volatility, they're doing it because they're trying to steal your money. That's the only reason. They're trying to get you to panic out.
Somebody's asking about Vocal today. It's up 25 cents. That's not a big deal.
No one has anything, no one has any size to make a
He's
difference
not
in the name.
interested in that. Okay. That's good. It's a simple case of mind over matter. If you don't mind, the bashers don't matter. If you don't have a mind. No, there's nothing else that's particularly. What happened to GTII? Did you give up on it?
Yes, I've only put up 7,000 posts and I spoke about it every day, 1,000 times a day. So either go back and watch an old video because I'm tired of saying it. I did it 1,000 times. I posted before I went and hit the pickleball, I posted that 70% of the volume is fake today. Why don't you go read what I say on Twitter? Or would you like me to go knock on your door and give you an update in person? What would you like me to do?
Yeah. I don't know this stock, BABYF. I don't know. Oh, maybe that's Bed Bath and Beyond, that baby stock. Anyway, I can look at it.
I don't know that stuff.
It's probably not worth looking at, but I can. BABYF. Nutrition Holdings. 52-week high, 83 cents. The low is 11 cents, trading at 20 cents. That's exciting. I don't know.
I'm trying to tell you that There's a lot of good companies out here. I have no idea what they are. But I will tell you that you need to pay attention and be careful because you're going to get your pants pulled down and get robbed.
All right.
Not because the company is bad, it's because of the criminals. That's it.
Are you buying a T-shirt from Ace yet? I guess
What
he's
t-shirt?
selling. I guess he's selling T-shirts. Are you going to buy one?
Well, if I have to, yes, I'll buy a T-shirt from him. He's a good man.
He is a good man, but it might say something about San Francisco Giants on it.
49ers. Get the right team, William.
Whatever the hell.
He's
they
a
are.
football fan. He's not a baseball fan.
Whatever the hell they are. Last night, someone asked
His
me who won the.
His punishment for his team losing is to leave the East Coast and go live in that shithole in San Francisco. That's what he should be doing. That's his punishment.
Someone asked.
You want to root for him? You want to root for him? Go live with them.
Someone asked last night who won the Super Bowl, and I said Taylor Swift. I don't know. Oh, Ace has shirts with ham quotes. That's pretty cool. That's a good idea.
Did Nvidia come out the earnings yet?
Let me see what Nvidia is trading for. Oh, doesn't show up on my last 10. NVDA. Nvidia. It is down 20 at 674. And now it's up 5 at 679, and the race is on. I don't see the earnings.
All right, so it's up $5. So again, who knows what it is, but so there you go. We had said that the earnings were, I would say, buy the dip on those news. They always go the wrong way first, and now it's showing up $5. I haven't, it should be up. If the earnings are good, it should be up with the shorts in the stock.
Did you leave the trading desk at 4 o'clock, or did you leave it 5 or 6 o'clock each day?
Yeah, usually we left it at probably around 5 because we had to make sure all our average prices were correct and all that stuff.
But the trading stopped at 4, or did it stop at 4:20?
Oh no, option trading was the 4:10. They were right behind me, the option desk, so they were trading for 4:10. So we waited to see if any trades would go on. We used to give the trades to Instinet back in the day. That was your dark pool back in the day, and that's where all the after-hour trading would happen. And if Nvidia is not going to pop, I don't know if the earnings came out and it's here. It's pretty interesting that it's just teetering up 3 after being down 20. If the earnings weren't like up 50, then I would say there's a good chance this would be a sale. I'm trying to figure out the best way to trade.
Earnings come at 4:20.
Oh, they didn't even come out yet?
No, like this guy's saying 4:20.
Oh, okay. I thought it came out. I'm just saying if the earnings came out and it's only up $4, I would say that's a danger, but the earnings aren't out yet. I'm sorry, but it's up $5 already for aftermarket.
What is the update with GTII and Wes Christian? Look, do you really think a lawyer's going to go out and just to make you feel good, give away 1, his strategy, and 2, the evidence he's discovered? I don't think so. And by the way, Cam, who's paying for Wes? Originally, it was paid for by an investor. I don't know if Reichman's paying anymore. So just chill out on Wes Christian. You have no right to learn what Wes Christian is doing. None. You'll find out when we all find out.
Well, he could donate a couple of $1 million and he could take control of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Listen, we all want to win. So if you have a way to donate a couple of $1 million, I'm sure we all want to be part of that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what more evidence is. I don't know if any evidence Wes Christian has will be more powerful than what the NSCC put in documents before the court about a large naked short position held by Alpine. But it doesn't seem to have any effect on anyone sitting over at the SEC.
Mhm. What stock is the guy yapping about?
GTII.
GTII. I called the depository trust up in the NSCC and asked them about Alpine and the concentrated short position. Can you do that for me? Or you can call the SEC up and ask them. I put the number up there, and that would be greatly appreciated if you can call them, because they'll answer all your questions and then get back to us.
That involves work. All right, let's see. Busy said there's a news release. Today from Nextbridge, and it's regarding the Equinity.
Dividend.
It's Equinity, formerly AST, formerly Bonzo's Knuckle Room, has shared with us that it wishes to inform the official workflow and protocol. It's just talking about it. Transfer process initiated by shareholders themselves through a brokerage firm. No time is it the responsibility of retail shareholders to open an Equinity account for themselves. The brokerage firm previously holding shares in street name for the holder will supply Equinity with a transfer of ownership form indicating the holder's personal and financial information. Equinity will create an account for shareholders from those instructions. From that point forward, shareholders may at any time access either the online portal or telephone system for future communications. And I've told you before, as soon as my shares transferred out, I have them here. I called in and I forget, they asked my last four of my social security or something, gave it, and they said, you are William Farron and you own XX number of shares. All right, great.
My friend just made me a nice little thing. Crypto criminals face life imprisonment in South Korea. In the US, SEC does nothing to stop fraud and counterfeiting.
So if you receive a paper stock certificate from your brokerage firm, which is what happened to me, the shares will be recorded in quote unquote certificate form within Equinity's system, but physically possessed by you. You can ship those directly to Equinity, along with instructions to convert the paper certificate into book entry shares to be held electronically. Either way, the holder's share balance and account information will be securely recorded within the Equinity system. They need a new name, like Hams Bank. Okay, 412. So Not Legal Advice wants you to call him.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Ed's saying to everyone at Fidelity, there was no trouble to transfer shares. I moved my paltry number out of my IRA a week ago, yesterday, because there was a delay. I called in. They said it was in process from E-Trade, and I should receive my shares. He couldn't tell me when, but he said, call in next week if you haven't received them yet. So I'll call next week.
It's amazing how they make everyone jump through hoops, right? Just to do a little transfer, right?
Ramon's asking me, William, you've been confident saying ZJYL has the best shot at running first. Can you explain why that is? I have. My answer is that the eyeballs of whales and just the imbalance of 200 million shares reported short with a strike price somewhere around $1 or $2. They're underwater anyway.
No, the short, all the shares is short in that name, 10 million shares, the average price is 20.
Right.
So the stock right now is 160 and at $9 is 180, right? 20 times 9 is 18, right? 180.
Right. Okay.
So that's where the stock is. So if you're a short seller, you're down 180 160 bucks as of right now. That is the stock that's being squeezed. We're all sitting here waiting for that final dagger. And if you weren't paying attention, the stock went to 12, which is 240 the other day. All right, so it gives you opportunities. If you wanted to get off, you can get out. Okay, there's no guarantees. We believe that this thing is going to go. We actually know a guy who owns a lot of shares. 25,000 shares when the stock was $200 is a lot of money to invest in a crapshoot, right?
Right.
So that's who we were following. If you could tell us exactly how many shares you have, give us the exact number, maybe I can help you through this. Tell us the exact number of shares you have and what you paid for it. Because William, if you heard it from William, what did you pay for it? What was your best price?
My best price was $74, but
your worst price?
I can't remember, but my average was around just under $100.
So you bought some high.
But I bought some high. Yeah, I bought some maybe
at some low.
300 or 280. Yeah.
You bought some high, you bought some low because this is that time it was a very crazy stock, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't know what to do. Everyone just tiptoe in, you buy one share and you take a shot. This is Fraud Street. The stock is trading at 300 because of fraud. It wasn't trading at 300 because anybody on this phone, including myself, couldn't make it happen. So it's already in a squeeze play mode. And squeeze plays are what we look for because we want to turn small money. So if you bought 10 shares and 20 shares, we're hoping you can turn that into bigger money. All right. If you want to turn bigger money into smaller money, you go play Nvidia because the options are very expensive. And if you're wrong, you're turning big money into little money. That's an easy game to go play if you want to go gamble. But we don't like to do that. We like to use small money to make big money. That's the game. And if William liked, he could have sold his stock that he paid $70 or $100 for all of them. He could have sold it at $300 and made $200 a share. But William decided to stay put. I never bought it.
So
that's the other one.
Even now, GDC. Even now, I'm up $3 a share because it translates to $5 that I paid. I could sell, but I don't see why to sell now. I didn't get in it for $3.
Right. So again, I bought the different stock. I bought GDC because my friend purchased 1 million shares of that stock, and he did average down a little bit. He owns it at 380 now. Before it was 410. All right. I paid as high as 380 for it and as low as 193. And here we are sitting. It started to pop the other day, and they knocked it back down again. No volume, 70,000 shares. Up on big volume, down on no volume to me, is a buy. In any stock that you're looking at. I'm so curious about this Nvidia. What the hell's going to happen here?
It's 3 more minutes.
I know. That's the only reason I'm hanging on. Otherwise, I'd be calling Richard.
Richard said, tell you not to bother because you didn't call him right away. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
He's just going to he's just going to tell me a bad joke anyway.
Yeah, he'll say, did you hear the one about
I actually read a joke on a school wall today. My roommate from Australia, he said, does the school have a chess club? And he said, yes, checkmate, or something like that. Something stupid like that. I should have taken a photo of it.
Check it, mate.
Something like that. But I should have taken a photo of it and sent it to Richard.
Richard.
All right, there's nothing else. I'll let you
deep.
go. I called Richard up. I had enough. But William, please.
I'm going to get
Do
off the
not.
phone and
No,
very
do
quickly.
not address buffoons. This is not, there's no reason for anyone to be nasty with you
Yeah.
at all. All right?
All right.
If they have a beef, I put the number for the SEC every day, call them up, help yourself. GTI holders, look at MMTLP. Look at the people there, what they've done. With the guy who's moaning about a stock, would he like to go to Washington, D.C.? I'll put him at the Motel 8? What is it, Motel 8? Whatever it's called.
With the hookups.
I'll put him in the hotel, in the nice side. I'll put him in the nice hotel in the nice side of town. He can stay there for a month, and every day he can walk the halls of Congress, and I'll give him all the paperwork, and he can walk around, stay away from his family, whatever he does, take off and go put some time in. Then get back to me and tell us how you feel.
All right, one more minute to Nvidia. Nvidia up $3.78, $4.23, and half a minute to go. 378, up 427. Well, it's exciting.
It is exciting. Here you go. You get to learn again. I was always a buyer on these dips before earnings. So I thought the stock would rally to 685 before the earnings, and then you can make a trade if you wanted to. But let's see what the panic is.
Now it's done. So it's going up. It's not, let's see what the earnings are. It's not saying anything on my thing, but it's 420 and the stock is up 5. So maybe you're right. It'll be going up.
Listen, it's always a head fake. You know, I can't believe this would not be a positive surprise. And we'll see what happens. But again,
7. It's up 7, up 6, up 7. So you're right. You would buy on the dip before it closed, or as it closed.
They always say
it's up 15, up 617. Up.
Dirty Mayo put that. He heard from Goldman Sachs. He heard there was a rumor on the street. Goldman Sachs telling everyone to buy it, and there you go. Dirty Mayo, the winner on Twitter.
Dirty Mayo is better connected than you are.
That's true. He's the man. Dirty Mayo. I'm going to give him props. Dirty Mayo. There you go. Let's see. What time did he say it? I'm going to go look. Here it is. 5 hours ago.
Now it's down 12.
Is it really?
Now it's down 8, 9, 10, 11, 14, 16.
Oh, that means
15.
they came out afterwards. I didn't even get a chance to thank Dirty Mayo.
17, 18, 19, 21 down 22, down.
Oh boy. There you go. That's
25,
gaming.
28, 30,
Now
27.
the shorts are gonna punish the stock because people are sitting here, people can't play.
Hey, they're listening to you and now they're punishing it.
That's it, because I like the stock. I was curious. There you go. I was paper trading a stock and seeing if I can paper trade it. And they're shorting it because of me. Thank you very much. Anyway, listen, everyone, I had enough. Have a great night.
Thank you, Ham. All right.
And
Crossbones. I have told you, and you've been here long enough, Ham has or did have an issue with Wayland, then it became Logic with that CEO. He's not going to answer questions on Logic. So when you ask me them while he's on the phone, I'm not going to ask him. I'm just not going to ask him. And then you ask me here, thanks for ignoring my questions. I'm very important. My questions are more important than what Ham's talking about or anybody else's questions. Thanks a lot. What's going on with LGIW? I don't know. Should I just sell? My guess is you should just sell. you have no stomach for the fight. But let's go to your more important. Where are the deals you spoke of? Okay, so Crossbones. I am not an insider to the company. I am not an officer of the company. I'm not on the board of directors. I do not have access to the negotiations of, and I do not have access to material inside information. I have no effing idea where the deals are. But Datalogic announces plans to list on NASDAQ via merger with Aubrey SPAC. Logic, 30 cents. Logic today announced it has entered into a definitive merger agreement for a business combination whereby it will merge, this is the Datalogic portion of it, will merge with Aubrey SPAC, a wholly owned subsidiary of Aubrey SPAC 1. Upon completion of the business combination, the combined company is expected to remain on NASDAQ under the name Datalogic Inc. Well, that's since traded to change to Collective Audience. Aubrey will issue 11.4 million shares in exchange for DLQ. Aubrey will file an S-4 registration. Management comments. We look forward to partnering with Aubrey to leverage their significant expertise in corporate finance and management with solid experience in forming a attractive business combination. Jeffrey Tierman of Aubrey. We're very pleased to support Datalogic's transition to NASDAQ, where he gave it to Polar, where he raised only $5 million and the stock went from 38 down to under 1. I would stay away from Jeffrey Tierman. But anyway, let me find the other news, because Crossbones, I know it's hard for you of your generation to let your fingers do the walking. You've got to bitch and moan. Where is it? You're not answering my questions, and it's not happening. I still have my shares. And you're right, it hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. What are you going to get me to do? Let me just find the news announcement. Okay, here's one of the news announcements. Now Nvidia is up $8. They're washing the machine. That's one of the announcements, but I don't have the whole page. So let me see if I have it here, where I can read it to you. Okay, here, Logic, Crossbones. Logic reports continued progress with major corporate initiatives with strong outlook for 2023 on track. I think because of Aubrey Advisors' mishandling of the D-SPAC, I don't know that 2023 is going to be so great, but it doesn't matter. Here we go. They had earnings, and then you go here, Datalogic subsidiary SPAC merger. The company has continued to progress toward completion of the SPAC merger. Logic and SPAC have completed their response to an additional round of comments received from the Securities and Exchange, SEC. Where are the deals you spoke of? Where are they? Where are they? Submitted on August 14th. Typical SPAC transactions have been averaging 10 to 12 months for completion. Okay. Post data logic plans. Post data logic SPAC plans. The company believes the currently struggling IPO market increases the attractiveness and value of public reporting companies like Logic, and particularly for M&A candidates. That's Crossbones, that's merger and acquisition candidates looking to have access to the capital markets. The previously announced merger, they announced a merger previously, had exclusivity for a company. Let me start the sentence again. The previously announced merger exclusivity, which was offered to the Privco, announced in November, expired on December 31. Crossbones, why would they allow that to expire? Because they have a worse deal? They have a lesser transaction? Okay, so they let that expire on December 31 not the, a full year back, a full year and a month back, allowing Logic to pursue negotiations with other potentially more favorable private companies looking to go public. The ideal target would enable Logic to qualify for a listing on a senior stock exchange. Management is currently, and this was dated August 25, is currently in late stage discussions with several target companies that are greater in valuation than the aforementioned Privco. And it goes on to talk about how the market is ideal for these kind of transactions. In my opinion, Aubrey SPAC either was amateur or intentionally destroyed through their investors. And it's not a matter of opinion. The market cap was destroyed in CAUD and I think Logic by the ham-handled Aubrey SPAC transaction, the Aubrey Advisors transaction. It's evident in the stock price. I think that affected Crossbones, the timing of the deals that are described here. But when a company puts things in writing, when a CEO says they're working on these transactions, when they're talking to several public companies, they're doing it. Now, the de-SPAC happened in November, late November. That left December. I think all hell broke loose across the whole complex of Logic, CAUD, and the reverse merger. Why? Because I think Aubrey SPAC set it up, Aubrey Advisors set up a sting operation. It's my opinion. But Logic is still a company who has I always wonder if I talk about a story again, if it's going to register. But I guess it doesn't. Okay, so Logic Crossbones is a shell company with 147 million shares out. And the obvious trade, once they announced that Data Logic was going to be distributed to Aubrey SPAC and then to CAUD, was to short Logic, and particularly in light of the fact that Aubrey SPAC set its Polar hedge fund to work to destroy the market cap, in my judgment, of CAUD. So it was an obvious trade for them. Now, I didn't sell my Logic at 20 or at 15 or at 10 because I was concerned that the distribution was so large, they might come back and change the X date. I was wrong, but so I still have my Logic as it's come down. My average price is around 15 cents. Logic is a shell. It's clean, and it's current in its reporting. It has 147 million shares. If we assume the reverse merger candidate is worth 400 million. Now, on these calls, Brent talked about companies worth much more than that coming to him. But if we assume it's worth 400 million, if we assume Logic shareholders get 15% of that, 15% of that, 15% of 400 million, it's $60 million for Logic shareholders. Now, if we further assume that Logic is going to reduce the number of shares outstanding, why? Because they didn't need to use all those shares. They had allocated shares for other acquisitions and etc. If we assume there's 100 million shares out, that's what I hear. We don't know for sure. We get a reverse merger that's worth 60 cents a share Crossbones. 60 cents a share. Now let's take that. Let's take all of this and reduce it and say it's worth 40 cents a share. Let's say that it's going to be 40 cents a share instead of 60 cents. The D-SPAC that Aubrey Advisors handled disastrously, and I think intentionally, in my judgment. They intentionally set CAUD's market cap up to profit Aubrey Advisors' real client, Polar, and the other one. I forget the other one's name. So at the end of the November, they did the D-SPAC. They were supposed to do this reverse merger then, but there was a disaster orchestrated, in my opinion, either by Aubrey Advisors or by Aubrey Advisors clients or by Brownstone or by Chandron Advisors or in combination. But make no mistake, somebody sold counterfeit shares in CAUD down to under $1. And when I saw the deal, I predicted that. This idea of algorithmic trading, oh, they'll never drive it down below $1. It'll rally back. Well, anyway, a theory's as good as its ability to predict. Disaster in price, that delayed closing these deals. Why? Crossbones, why? Why would it delay? Critical thinking rather than being a jerk? Why? There were deals on the CAUD side where the stock, once the stock price went down, the CEOs on the other side of the trade say, hey, wait a minute. You promised us $12 a share. Now it's $1. We're not interested anymore. That's on the CAUD side. But what happened on the logic side? There's only so much manpower. The stock price was falling. It's all hands on deck. It's December. That was end of November. It's December. It's Christmas time, New Year's. So December's gone. Then we've just had January to come up and bring it all back to life. And now we're in February. Where are the deals I spoke of? There's one deal with logic. With CAUD, it's 3 or 4. I don't know why you're pluralizing deals. But with logic, I expect the reverse merger to be announced pretty soon. But here's the deal, Crossbones. Should the CEO announce a letter of intent that's non-binding, pending audit, or should he wait until it's completely finalized, it's binding, and it's done, and it's unbreakable? What is your thoughts? Oh, you're saying it might be better to wait until it's finalized so the shorts can't make up an excuse to sell it. Hey, it's not bad thinking, Crossbones. And what? Oh, the audit might only take 2 to 6 weeks. Why not let that finish and announce it in full? You might be onto something there, Crossbones. So right now, Logic is selling for 2 cents. The deal might be worth 40 cents or more. Let's say it's announced as a non-binding agreement. The stock goes maybe to 5 cents and then gets sold back down. Let's say it's announced as a definitive agreement. The stock goes to 15 cents and maybe comes back down. But there might be a short squeeze involved and it goes to 25 cents. So you've got a 2 cent stock that could go to 25 cents once the announcement is made. That's on Logic. It could go higher. It could go to $1 if there's a short squeeze. But I would say on the way up out of Logic, once there's a news announcement, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 cents, it's up to you. It's a trade. It's not, I mean, you can read the news and say, I love this stock. I love this stock. Now, let me just tell you something else, Crossbones. There was a 1 for 50 stock split approved by shareholders. So if it's 40 cents is the target, while Nvidia is at 715, up 40. That's equal to so on logic, the new company, the risk is, do people believe the valuation? I have no idea. I don't know enough about it. But you'll have a new company trading at $30 a share, potentially, or higher, New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ, with research and institutional buying, hopefully. And the shorts can't do anything about it. But it works out to that 40 cents a share. All right, now CAUD. There were 4 roll-up companies, 3 to 4 roll-up companies that were to merge into CAUD as it de-SPAC'd. Now, Aubrey Advisors has done over 100 of these. They are either the most amateur, ham-handed group of advisors, or intentionally they destroyed the market cap of CAUD. It destroyed the interest in these companies, crossbones. Let's say you're a CEO of a private company that has huge revenue growth and has earnings, and you agree to deal with CAUD to merge into it for 1 million shares at $12 a share. When the criminals drive CAUD down to $1, you're going to say, wait a minute, you're giving me, before you were giving me $12 million worth of stock, and now you're only giving me $1 million worth of stock. I want out of this deal. That's where those deals went. They got destroyed by the criminals, crossbones, and keep your money. Ham and Will are clueless. I'm not clueless. But anyway, what I understand is going to happen now that the love is gone. They're not leading them on anymore after all the love is gone. My understanding is they're going to announce one company merges or joint ventures with CAUD, and they're going to announce it soon. I don't know when. The company that they have in mind, I understand, has cash, revenue, and it has earnings. But I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have all that, but that's what I heard. Remember, crossbones, I don't know what the F I'm talking about as it relates to material inside information. I don't have access to material inside information. And if I did have access to it, I wouldn't share it with you, particularly not with you. Now, what I understand is going to happen is that deal, that joint venture deal, is not going to be based on $1 stock price. They are going to structure it in some fashion that the two companies report earnings for 6 or 9 months, and they strike the deal at a higher strike price. Maybe $5, maybe $7, maybe $10 a share. This way, your friends, crossbones, do not win at destroying the denominator of the company. And then they've got 3 more companies that they'll do that too. Now, there's an interview on CAUD, and maybe I'll play that for you since you have such an interest in CAUD. See if it comes up. Um, okay. Videos. I don't see it. I was sent this interview, but it doesn't have a link because I was sent it by a 70-year-old guy, and he's not any better at technology than I am. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. Let me see if there's another way I can find it. All right, let's see what happens. Jane King. All right, here it is. It's on Reddit, so I wonder if I can get into Reddit. Yeah, looks like I can. And then it's on YouTube. All right.
Battery 70%. Connected to Bill's iPhone.
Collective Audience provides
All right,
performance
Crossbones. Here's an
advertising and
interview on
digital media
CAUD.
solutions. The company, through its platform, offers an audience-based advertising solution to identify, convert, and monetize brands and publishers. A Collective Audience serves clients in the United States. And with me is Peter Bordas, the CEO, and Joe Zawadzki, the chairman. Great to have you guys here. Yes. So let's just start. Peter, explain what you're building at Collective Audience.
Sure. Well, we're building and innovating and disrupting at the same time on several fronts. First and foremost within the industry, technologically, driving the next generation of what we think of as digital media and advertising, a 3.0 ecosystem. And then also on the cultural and the business side, where we're building everything around the principles of collective intelligence and the understanding that we're stronger as a group than we are as individuals, both as individuals, parts of the organization, technologically, even as part of our, what we call our shareholder and our advisor collective, that are all a part of this journey and harnessing that kind of the power of that collective together.
Yeah. What is the problem and the size of the problem that is facing the advertising industry right now?
Where does one begin?
I mean, I
so
worked in
big.
television for so many years, and it just feels like it's so kind of, cloudy right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're looking at the potential of hitting a $1 trillion industry by 2030. But in order to get there, there are many challenges that we're facing that are kind of legacy issues that we've inherited from, the evolution of the industry that really have to get solved in order to unlock, all that value on many different fronts. But, just as a kind of primer to how we got here, as we first started, it's kind of akin to the Big Bang Theory and what phase one was. And we're digital media and advertising industry. I came out of traditional media. We watched things just hyper fragmented, become hyper fragmented. But then phase two started to happen, which, Seth Godin, who's a brilliant, marketing mind, said, like the Big Bang Theory, if we didn't start to have gravity creating some semblance of organization in that chaos, the whole thing implodes on itself. But that then was the beginning of the formation of today's silos and walled gardens, such as Google and Facebook, compounded with many, many other issues that the industry faces, in that there's significant margin compression. When you spend $1 between the brand and the advertiser, down to the publisher, by the time it gets there, the publisher's only getting 10% of it, because there's so many hops of these different applications between buyer and seller that it's become, highly fragmented, full of friction, and it's not sustainable. And that's really one of the big challenges that we're here to face in the model that we built. And essentially, when you think about the 3.0, which is the ecosystem model, where everything is connected, you don't have that margin compression because you're connecting it together. It's akin to if you remove the walled gardens of Google today, what would unfold? It would be an open, interconnected ecosystem of supply, demand, data, media, and all the various different assets. And that's what we've set out to build.
It's been fascinating to watch develop over the last 20 years or so. Joe, what's your perspective on all this?
Yeah, probably no surprise. Sort of see the kind of root issues and opportunities similarly, right? So right now, if you just think about it, everybody's a marketer, right? Every company in the world kind of relies on digital advertising to reach consumers, to differentiate their brand, et cetera. And then increasingly, a lot of companies are becoming media companies in their own right. There's a massive proliferation, this concept called retail media, and you're seeing other verticals begin to do the same thing. And so the $1 trillion is not it's not sort of an overstatement, just given how sort of fundamentally important digital marketing is to the global economy. Peter's point is right, and the sort of challenge is the opportunity is huge, and it's very hard for any single company to solve for the demands of the market, especially given how quickly it's changing, right? Increasing regulation on a global basis, some fundamental protocols of how advertising works are changing. You'll hear about the cookie apocalypse, right? So the way a lot of this actually works from a technical perspective is changing. And so what we saw was an opportunity to kind of rethink on two fronts, right? One is, how do you solve some of these bigger problems, and how do you do it where you've upended some of the corporate bias to build, right? So you often hear the not built here bias. It's like, okay, well, really big problem, can't build everything you need. And so if you orient it instead around strong partnerships, right? The ability to, truly build, buy, and partner with equal fluency, these bigger solutions. And you could recruit companies to not focus as much on competition, but focus on the collaboration that's necessary in order to solve some of these, bigger opportunities. Mm-hmm. You would do something kind of new, at least new to the digital advertising market in the US. Yeah. I think there are other industries that do find the kind of Kuretsu model successful, and be able to pursue sort of joint interests in that way. But that's effectively what we're building here.
Yeah. And why do you think it's a good time for companies and brands to look at advertising and media and digital?
Thoughtful question.
I mean, the world is changing so quickly, and the Orwellian world is here, which has been accelerated by the pandemic. While the pandemic was horrible for humanity, it stepped on the Orwellian world with 2 feet on the gas pedal. Global,
that's a good point.
Interconnected data and AI to be able to use the data. And what's happened now is, to think of it as like power to the people. All of a sudden, the brands and the media companies that are responsible for they create all the data, and that data now becoming in a completely new asset class that I think is akin to what gold was the gold rush or oil was to the industrial age, is now there. The problem is they don't know what to do with it.
With all the data.
They don't know what to do with it. I mean, it's amazing. When I sit on the board of a big media company, like, yes, power to the people. Like, now what? Yeah. Well, there are too many solutions. You've got, what do I do with my data?
All right.
GDP, a DMP, of this thing.
That's NASDAQ. Jane King interviews Peter Boards.
That brings these.
That's halfway through. No, it's 40% through the interview. You can go find it and listen to the rest. That way, NASDAQ will get its eyeballs and get credit for that thing. But I don't know which one you're talking about, Didi, but I agree with you that it's a good time to buy when Others are selling. If nothing has changed in your story, and that's the hard part, because things can change that you don't know about. CEOs can do a deal with Jeff Easton and completely bugger the pig. But on the other hand, your knowledge could be true, and we get all impatient because I ordered that food 20 minutes ago. Why isn't it here? Generation. Well, he says a lot. The second guy in particular said a lot, but the first guy, Peter Boards, I thought made some interesting points. But yeah, I agree with you. It's not very Big Al. It's not going to turn on anybody on Wall Street on a trading desk. They already turned that interview off. Why don't I include GTII in the description anymore? Since about 70 cents, 80 cents, and then 60, then 50, then 40 for sure, I thought the stock was going to go down. I started telling you, Dadif, that I thought it was a good time to do tax loss harvesting, sell the stock or other stocks, and buy it back in 31 days. You didn't hear those, but I did say that. Dadif, I've said this many times. I believe something's going on in the corporate offices, wherever they are, of GTII, between an elderly man who is CEO and a young whale who wants to take control of the direction of the company. That is a battle that is now defining GTII that didn't exist over the last 2 years. I don't know if it's a battle or a negotiation. It isn't resolved. It isn't resolved. But it's out there. It's an uncertainty. Thirdly, GTII remains a piece of shit company. It doesn't own anything. It always was a piece of shit company. But it had reportedly a really large naked short position. And the NSCC reported that as the reason for deficiency with Alpine in court documents. But, Dadif, the criminals, both through legal actions, both through prevarication and lying by John Hurry and his wife, in my judgment, in my opinion, and through ongoing fraud by market makers, have continued to sell GTII counterfeit shares. They have driven it. GTII was in the middle of a short squeeze a year ago, a little over a year ago. Lou Bravo, the other guy, and the CEO of COSM came to you, said, "Get out, come over to COSM." Everybody did it. That was all it needed to break the squeeze. That's in my opinion, Dadif. Now, I didn't sell. I don't know why. But that was when the squeeze broke. They tried again, as you know, Dadif, with a new issuance of restricted shares. I think that might be working now. But the criminals have GTII in control. Now, Dadif, recently, Thursday or Friday, Ham was talking about 20 or 25 million shares sought to buy. The stock went up dramatically on Friday. I said on this channel Friday, I'm getting lost in my days. We're on Wednesday. I think it was Friday. That was an enormous move in the stock. And you had to wake up. But the market was telling me, Dadif, that GTII was not in play. And as much as you want to believe a stock is in play, I'm not going to stand here, Dadif, and tell people that I think it's a good idea to buy GTII at $1, at 80 cents, at 70 cents, at 60 cents, at 50 cents, at 40 cents. I'm going to de-emphasize it. And I made my de-emphasis clear. Now, finally, Dadif, you're starting to see possibly an action in the stock price that indicates that something might be going on. It went to 35 cents. But I told you Friday, I said day before yesterday and today, I don't quite trust it. Now let me look where it closed. I don't have it on. Nvidia's up $67. All right, so it closed at 28 cents on pretty good volume, 1.3 million. So I would have to say, Dadif, that the price is disappointing. However, the volume is good. The volume is good to me. I do not believe GTII is going to squeeze right now. Does it mean that I have to talk every single day about the 5 or 6 items that could make GTII squeeze? I can. Do you want to hear them again? The FBI is going after a trader who stiffed GTII trade, a DK to trade at Westpac Securities. That's the FBI. FBI is also going after the whole trade in general because they had investigated it. Those 2 investigations, I can't control. I don't know the status of. Wes Christian, oh, what's he doing? He hasn't given us any update. Wes Christian examined spoofing. My guess is Reichman's not paying Wes anymore. So Wes probably isn't doing a whole hell of a lot. He's got plenty of other companies to work with, but he's probably still has those investigations out at 50 market makers. What's the status? I have no idea. SEC less so, but FINRA is trying to get Alpine expelled. But as you heard, because you come on, I think, Alpine has hired attorneys to argue FINRA shouldn't exist, and further that FINRA doesn't have a right to require Alpine to be a member of FINRA, and therefore FINRA shouldn't be able to regulate Alpine's activities. That's ongoing, Dadif. But in those filings, as a part of those filings, Alpine's deficiency was described as caused by a major short position in GTII. Now, is that true? A government assertion? Is that true? Or is it true what people that work at Amex say, that it's no way in hell? No way in hell there's any short position in GTII. It's just algorithmic trading. Ham is just totally wrong, and there just aren't. There isn't a problem with naked short selling in this country. There's systems in place. Oh, sure, there might be collusion. Oh, sure, there might be trading intraday, but they always cover it by the end of the day. So those numbers are all wrong. Well, maybe that's the case. On the other hand, maybe it's the case that the shorts have been selling as reported by the NSCC. Then Dadif, we had this law firm merger, which got long in the tooth and went away. Now, the final thing we have that's out there is a Trento mine deal that's potential. I personally, if I were the Trento mine guys, I'd find somebody else other than Reichman to deal with. But that's out there. GTII comes down to this, Dadif. If there's 440 million naked short shares, or if the Amex people are correct, there's no short shares, one or the other, I don't know. But if we assume it's 440 million, why can't it be 600 million to keep it down until Alpine needs to buy back? I don't know. So for me, I'd like to see more movement in GTII before I get the sense that the market price is telling you something is going on. Just like it was 14 months ago before the three horsemen of COSCM came with their lies to get you out of GTII. They might not have known they were lying, but they were the facts were wrong. So I don't believe the market is telling me GTII is in the middle of a squeeze. Dadif. And one of the reasons I don't put it in the title is because people say it here, I'm pumping it. I don't want you to have any confusion. I don't think GTII is going up right now. There. Now, what is my opinion worth? The stock has made a turnaround from 20 cents up to the mid to high 30s. Lots of volume. It's pulled back right now. And it could be showing that miracle of miracles, just as I give up, so to speak, it's going to turn and run to $2, $3. I don't know. Doesn't mean I'm right. But Dadif, I think the risk reward, where I understand the whales are, the reason GTII went up wasn't David Reichman, isn't because David Reichman is a genius. It's because the whales were involved. And the whales are involved right now in ZJYL. So pardon me for being flexible and not being an idiot and stand in a stock all the way down just because what's William doing? He doesn't put it in his title anymore. So Dadif, I answered your question. Okay, I'll call it a day.